Transalpine workers for the first national railway strike in 40 years. And we are fighting to break the Tory pay freeze. Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson, you've got to fight on. And we're going to bring it to you. And when the rail workers join with the workers employed by London Underground, the 10,000 RMT members who are already in dispute to defend their pensions, there's going to be a general transport workers strike in this country. We're heading for a hot summer, brothers and sisters. And anyone who tries to divide our union is doing Boris Johnson's work for him. So remember, May Day is about solidarity, not about division. We are one movement. In 1890, Eleanor Marx spoke at the first London May Day demonstration. And Eleanor Marx came to Hyde Park, not here, to Trafalgar Square. And Eleanor Marx said, we have not come to do the work of political parties, but we have come here in the cause of Labour. I am saying this afternoon, a socialist. I believe that the 8-hour day is the first and most immediate step to be taken. And we aim at a time when there will no longer be one class supporting two others, but the unemployed both at the top and the bottom of society will be got rid of. And she finished with a quote from Percy Bysshe Shelley: rise like lions after slumber in unvanquishable number, shake your chains to earth like dew which in sleep had fallen on you. Ye are many, they are few. I've come here today, brothers and sisters, to honour workers who are on strike. I'm honouring the Churchill's cleaners organised by the RMT, who are in the middle of an 11-day strike. They're on strike to win decent pay. Some of those cleaners are earning £8.95 an hour in a country where there's 9% RPI inflation, where your national insurance contributions have just been jacked up, where the prices in the shops and the prices on your domestic gas bills are going through the roof. And we're fighting alongside those cleaners, and I'm proud to stand alongside them. Those cleaners are fighting for a real living wage, and that's not a London living wage, that's £15 an hour. Those cleaners are fighting for sick pay, contractual sick pay, so that people who do the most necessary jobs in our society, who keep our public transport hygienic, are not themselves going sick and falling into poverty. We've got to stand alongside those workers. And I'm proud today to introduce two of our members, Rosa and Soa, and they're going to speak to you about their dispute. And I want the whole of this Trafalgar Square to get behind the Churchill cleaners. Rosa and Soa, thank you.
Action for cleaners! We are cleaners for Churchill. We are here for pay justice, free travel, and we are here for pay justice and free travel. We need a pay right from Churchill. We said we don't want £8.91. Instead, it's great for we those that work in London to get £8.91 as a living rate, as a from Churchill. It's very, very, very disgrace. And now we are here on 11-day strike to strike Churchill. We are telling our employers to give us a pay Thank you. Solidarity.
Justice! Justice for cleaners! Justice for cleaners! Justice for cleaners! Justice! 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 Churchill, hear us. Hear our cry. Hear our voice. We are here to tell Churchill that enough is enough. We are here to tell Churchill that they have treated us rubbish and enough is enough. We need 15 pounds from Churchill. Churchill should hear us and hear us well. They should hear us that we, the cleaners at Victoria Station, Churchill, we are asking, we are pleading on behalf, we are standing that the trade union movement should fight on our behalf so that we'll be able to help justice for cleaners. Justice! 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 We say, Churchill, give us our rights because we deserve it. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Comrades, we've now got two speakers from another very important dispute that's happening at the moment. The UCU union is fighting to protect its terms and conditions, fighting to protect its pay and pensions. We've got two speakers now. We've got Vincent Morsad and we've got Marion Carvey who are going to say a few words about their dispute. So Vincent and Marion, welcome.
Thank you. Friends, comrades, siblings, I want to start by wishing you all a very, very happy May Day. Un feliz 1 de Mayo. Biji Egulan, Yatsashim Bilbayes. I'm here to speak for the Universities and Colleges Union. I'm from the Goldsmiths branch. We've been involved in a dispute now for a year where our management has been making mass job cuts immediately following the end of lockdown. We've fought this with nearly 40 days of strike action, with a marking and assessment boycott, with mass student solidarity. In spite of this, management have gone ahead and made 16 compulsory redundancies. We're continuing to fight them. What we've seen is since we've disrupted their plans to make mass redundancies, they've instead targeted trade union activists. They've targeted colleagues working on access courses that allow working class people to come to university, and they've been attacking scholars of the Middle East, of Africa, of migrant literatures and histories. This is the Tory educational agenda in a nutshell. This is exactly what the Tory party is seeking to implement in education, and they're doing it in the guise of cuts, of financially justified cuts, of a continued attack on working conditions. But make no mistake, this is also an attack on our entire class's access to education. Education is something that working people have fought for, along with everything else that allows us not only to survive but to truly live. And we as education workers are acutely aware that we're fighting not only for ourselves, not only for the working conditions of our colleagues, but for the rights of everyone to access education. It's a fight that we cannot win alone. And we've had a tremendous amount of support from across the trade union movement, from students and from social movements across the country. And for that, on behalf of Goldsmiths UCU, I want to say thank you today. We're not only at Goldsmith though, we're also proudly, we've won our reballot not only in our local dispute, but in the national dispute as well. And I'm very, very proud of our branch for that tenacity and that grit. And again, we couldn't have done it without support from workers across this country and abroad. I'm very, very happy now to bring in Marianne Carty, who's our trade union liaison, to speak about the national dispute.
Greetings on this May Day 2022. I'm going to speak very briefly about the national dispute. You may not be aware, but more than 50% of those teachers teaching our students in our universities are on casual contracts. That means they're hourly paid. That means they don't get holiday pay. That means they don't get sick pay. If they're sick, they've got to make up their time. They're being paid less than the students are paying for their yearly fees. These people as well are largely women, and of course you'll find many of our black academics are in this category of worker. That means they've got no way of planning their careers. They can't set down roots. They're chasing contracts around the country, hoping to get, if they're lucky, a one-year contract, a two-year contract. More and more staff are being
Can I ask you a couple of questions? I just want to try and get a feeling of different people on the war in Ukraine. So just different opinions. So your opinion, what's your or your group's opinion? Okay, never mind.
Sorry.
Well, but surely, if you want to get your views out,
Yes.
you should be willing to say things.
Yeah, I'm willing to discuss with people, but not necessarily through an interview. Like, not at the moment, at least.
Okay, never mind.
Sorry. Okay.
Another fight race and say what on the war in Ukraine. Come on. What's the party line? Anyone?
Our position is that it's an anti-imperialist war. It's a war about Ukraine. It's a war about Western imperialist interests coming into conflict with those capitalist interests of Russia. That Russia is characterized as a weak imperialist power that, you know, is clearly in a desperate position and feels like it needs to protect its interests. Obviously, we condemn all war, but we would say that if we want to oppose war, then we need to oppose the imperialist system which causes war. That's the root of war. So that's our position.
But like, for example, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from, but you said just one little thing I wanted to take you up on when you said we oppose all war. I mean, a revolutionary war. Well, exactly, a revolutionary war surely is supposed to be supported.
We oppose all imperialist war.
Okay, and what do you define as imperialism?
Give me a second. How much do you want to do?
Any of you? What's the meaning of imperialism for you?
Imperialism is the world system that we're living under. Imperialism
Meaning what?
Capitalism, you know? It's
What's the difference between imperialism and capitalism? What's the difference?
What's the difference? Imperialism is the system that capitalism inevitably grows into. Capitalism needs to continue to expand. If it doesn't continue to expand, if profit is not continuously accumulated at a certain rate, then it collapses, like it did in the 1930s, like it did in 2006, like it's doing now as a result of the pandemic stuff, you know? So in order for companies, for the capitalists to continue making the profits that they need to survive, they expand. They expand out of the country in which they're based. They go, in the case of Britain, they've gone to Africa, Asia, Latin America in search of new markets to exploit, resources to plunder, labor to exploit, you know? That's what imperialism is.
Okay, and your group is called...
We are the Revolutionary Communist Group.
Okay, where's that come from? Where's that come from? What does it mean?
What does it mean? Revolutionary Communist Group. Well, for one, we're communists.
Meaning what?
Two, we're revolutionary.
What does it mean to be a communist in your opinion?
To be a communist? I think to be a communist means that you're organised. I think that is the most important.
But you could be a member of the army to do that. I mean, what's a communist?
You know what I mean, man. I think to be a communist, you need to be organised in a movement that stands in solidarity with the working class in this country and oppressed people all around the world. You need to be organising against the enemies that we have in this country, as the British state.
Okay, what's your response to the argument that
multinational corporations?
What's your response to the argument that communism brought about tyranny around the world? When you use the word, what do you mean? How do you qualify the distinction between what you're saying and what many people would interpret as the meaning?
I would disagree that communism has brought tyranny around the world. I don't think that's the case. I think there's lots of propaganda in the capitalist countries that tries to portray communism as a tyrannical system because it's a viable alternative for people. Socialist Cuba proves that, you know. So yeah, I don't think communism has spread tyranny around the world.
Maybe not as a universal, but certainly it's associated in the minds of people.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, which is why part of the work of communists must be to counter that negative propaganda, to provide an accurate analysis, to dispel the lies that are told about communism, about progressive movements around
Okay, one final question. How did you get involved in this group?
How did I get involved? I was seeing poverty and suffering all around me and felt that, you know, we need to organize for change. The only viable solution that I've come into contact with is socialism. So that's how I got involved.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
What's your name? Well, if you're on, you might as well say, you know what I mean? All right, see you later. Okay, that's subject access, yeah? Yeah. It's subject access YouTube. Subject access. Give you a sense of where these people are coming from and what they think and what they say, whether you agree with them or not. That's not the decisive. We can catch Jimbo here. Cam on cam, mate. Cam on cam. Not bad. When did you become a communist then? I just asked the guy across the road then.
What was they filming? Was they filming your tour?
Yeah, it's a German film being made about Marx's life. So they asked me.
Are in the same profit-driven system, and their solutions may lie in the same place, in rejecting that system and posing an alternative to that system. One thing that Johnson left out of his so-called energy security strategy was probably the most important thing: energy efficiency. That is where we will start to see a reduction in energy bills. So we have to raise demands that address the climate and energy crisis. One of those demands has to be for a mass retrofit program across the country rolled out at the point of need. A public goods program where we are retrofitting our homes, where we're reducing the amount of energy we need, and we're tackling those energy bills permanently and immediately. And secondly, we have the market, the energy market has failed. It is a failure. We have to call for mass investment in renewable energy, but alongside that, we have to call for public ownership of our energy system. One that is there to put the interests of the planet and the people and nature on it, not the interests of big business and the huge companies that destroy our planet.
They're having like mental problems to do with the climate, so they have a shit day's weather and they get depressed.
As well. We need a proper public transport system that is accessible, that is affordable, and that prioritises the needs of the climate crisis and the workers that work within it. And if we demand these kind of demands across the trade union movement, across our communities, across the environmental movement, we will also create millions of good, well-paid trade union jobs. So this is a win-win. We have to get organised and we have to demand that these are the answers to our climate, our energy, and our cost of living crisis. Solidarity with you all.
I was trying to find a mix and there's hardly anybody here, is there? So you can't do much with it.
Susan was the last speaker.
Right, I better go. All right, that's it.
Can I just say before we finish, can I thank all the organisers, the marshals, Mary,
and the
all the
Kurds aren't here
speakers who
either.
helped make
No, there is justice for Kurds walking about.
No, but there used to be. There used to be like 500-600 Turks would turn up,
comrades,
and they held the whole thing together for many years.
May Day marches that I've been on.
Fucking hell,
but
don't say it
let's not forget 2 other things coming up. Dates in your diary. Get out there, May the 5th. Let's vote these Tory councils out in the elections. Let's show Boris Johnson and his cronies that we will not put up for their outrageous, arrogant and misogynistic way of running the country. And on June the 18th, get back into your communities, get back into your workplaces, your trade unions, and let's mobilise for the TUC demonstration on June the 18th.
Yeah,
let's
May Day
make it
demonstration.
one of the biggest shows of opposition
Flat as
to
a
this
pancake.
government.
I mean, said that there are quite big strikes taking place at various places, but
Roger
the actual
Sutton, the organiser for today.
meetings of these
would just
people,
like to say a few
flat as a
words,
pancake.
comrades. Thanks for your support.
Dead as a doornail.
It's been a wonderful, lively May Day celebration. I think
All right,
here in
apart from that lot there.
Trafalgar Square,
South Americans,
and I think
that's about it.
we've all enjoyed it. Comrades,
Well, I'm cutting off now, and oh no, maybe I'll have a look. No, I won't bother. I'll see you in Hyde Park in a little while.